bringing metal to the masses. OnslaughtRadio.com.
This is Onslaught Radio. I'm Natalie and I'm backstage in Reading where I'm talking to the amazing comedian Steve Hughes. How's it going, Steve?
Good. Lovely. Lovely. It's going good.
That's a very polite way to start, really.
Oh, it is a polite way to start. Well, we are in Britain, aren't we? We're in...
They're not polite.
Well, you know, they like to allude to the fact that perhaps they are. So
It's all a lie. So how has the tour been going?
The touring?
Yes.
Yeah, the touring's good. Yeah, people are coming, and that's good. So there's an audience, which is always handy, and we haven't crashed or been pulled over by police, and run out of petrol. We haven't done that, so that's all right. And yeah, I'm a bit brain dead from touring.
I can imagine. It must be quite hard going.
Well, you know, hard. Like all jobs are hard, aren't they? So, you know, I never bitch on those lines. Imagine having a normal job. I mean, really bitching if you're on tour doing what you wanted to do is you can't really bitch about that. Because everybody has to. People go, how do you do it when you don't want to do it? Well, the same way everyone works. They never want to do it. They have to just go, don't they? Not everyone. Some people like their job. Good luck to them. But you know, really, at the end of the day, if you've just got a normal job and you don't want to go, it's hard, isn't it? So.
And what would you say makes a good gig for you? Sort of, if you know, when you've got the right kind of crowd and that kind of thing. What is it that makes the gig a good one?
Oh, you know, energy between the audience, like any music gig. You know what I mean? You must have seen music gigs, obviously, and ones that are actually, you know, when there's a cyclical energy between you and the you know, without being too fancy. It's just that some crowds are sort of, you know, they laugh but they give no energy, so it's just like almost being observed instead of just being participated in. You can usually tell sometimes crowds that talk a lot before you even go on stage. You just hear them talking. Usually got, you know, there's already energy. Some people are whispering like this, and then you realise, oh, this could be a bunch of quiet starers. But you know, and also people laugh differently in different towns for some weird reason. I don't know why. Maybe the gravitational pull vibrates them towards this place, and they're all kind of, I don't know why I live here. Maybe because everybody else is boring like me, and then but they don't think they're boring, but they laugh. Some people laugh without laughing.
Well, I was going to say...
Weird as that sounds.
Yeah, and obviously, like you said, you are Australian and you do live here now. What sort of prompted you to move to the UK? Because most people would think, come on, Australia, the weather, you know, that way of life that everyone kind of dreams of and aspires to, and you've kind of moved away from it and over to the UK.
Well, you know, that life that everybody dreams of and aspires to is exactly that. It's just a dream, really. It's not the reality. You lived in South Africa, as you said, so, you know, there's so many barbecues you can go to until you're just, you know, someone got a book. And then, and also I came here for comedy to do work, so I don't want a job. I wanted to do comedy, so you can't do it in Australia, same as you can't do it in South Africa, really, or New Zealand. So you come here where there's 60 million people on an island that like comedy, and then you start. If you're good enough, they go, well, we'll watch, and then it works. But, you know, Australia, there's 22 million of them on that massive landmass, all sitting around playing sport. They just go, well, you know, who are you, mate? And you just go, yeah, well, no one, mate, because I'm going to England. That's who I am.
And obviously, as you said, you've been in bands before, death metal bands, which is awesome, but how did it feel kind of for the first time going on the stage as a comedy act as opposed to sort of being on stage with a band and having that sort of almost that kind of safety in numbers thing?
Yeah, you do have that safety in numbers and amplifiers, and drums, and you can just make noise, really, can't you? No, what's anyone going to do? Throw bottles? Okay, well, you know. But, well, you know, it's horrible. Like, well, not horrible in the sense of it's just, yeah, it's the one performance that you have to just start, don't you? You can't play guitar for 2 years and make a band and then go, oh, we'll do a gig. You just have to go, well, I have to do a gig. There's nowhere else to do it, is there? So you just have to start being crap in front of audiences there, really. And then, you know, that's the way it goes. Gigs don't always just keep getting better. They can still be shit. You just don't cry as much.
Have you, obviously, I guess when you started out, you must have had a couple of really bad comedy gigs where people are kind of like, you know, a bit quiet, you're not getting the laughs that you like. How do you kind of deal with that? Is it something that you kind of get used to, or do you still find it quite difficult?
No, it's not as difficult. As I said, you don't cry anymore. So when they first start, have a crap gig, but you don't know what to do, so you just stand there. And then when I started doing gigs in Holland and stuff, that was horrible too, So, but now, if I've done enough gigs to know if it's just crap. And usually it's not crap most of the time, but if it is, well, it's just, it's all right, isn't it? You don't go home feeling an emotional loser. You just go, oh, well, so I didn't make them laugh, so what? Maybe it's half their fault. I've already proved I'm funny. How come you're not laughing?
Well, I guess it's got to be weird because everyone has a different kind of sense of humour, and it's very difficult to tailor your comedy to everyone. So, for example, have you found that there's a difference in how people react to you, say, on different continents and in different sort of countries?
Well, I guess maybe there is. I don't know if I particularly notice. Because of the material I do, which is kind of based around ideas that they can all get into, so in the sense of it's global ideas or stuff they would have heard of, in the sense of politics and so. Well, if you do Scandinavia, you just slow it down a bit, without being patronising, and don't use slang. And as long as you haven't got jokes about things they just don't understand, like if you're doing jokes about TV commercials in Britain to Swedes, then they go, you can't do a joke about the tube to the Norwegians, can you? What are they going to do? What are you talking about? You can do jokes about black metal to them, so that's all right.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, I can do it. No one else can, but I can.
And did you ever have a moment sort of when you were younger or sort of whenever, before you got into comedy, where you kind of realised, actually, I'm quite a funny guy, I make people laugh?
Yeah. I think all comedians you have to be funny, don't you, on some level. So I was just making people laugh and just funny. And really, as much as I'm into music and bands and stuff, and heavy metal full on, but there was still a part of heavy metal, in understanding it I couldn't take seriously, it's a gold mine of humour, really, even though I fully respect it, and when I was growing up, didn't find Manowar ridiculous at all, even though they are ridiculous, but they're not. They're great. Their lyrics are brilliant, and their music was brilliant, inspired me, and so I got more positive ideas about success and life off Manowar than me parents. So
that's saying something.
You listen to that track, Mountains. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's great lyrics. It's basically you can get off your ass and do whatever you want if you put your balls into it song, isn't it? Yeah.
And that's what you need most of the time.
Yeah, stop being a loser and crying and carrying on and just get off your ass and you can fucking rock and bring your dreams to life. That's Manowar taught me that. So I'm like, fuck yeah, I don't care if they're oiled up and dressed in lion skins and riding Harley Davidsons. And they do it with full, you can all get fucked. So why would you hate that? Brilliant.
Exactly. And in terms of, obviously, being a comedian, so you can make people laugh, that's what you do. Have you ever used it to your advantage?
In what way?
Well, like to get out of a speeding ticket or to get someone's number or...
I don't know. It helps with cops in Britain when they find out you're a comedian, because then they're quite interested. Really? And then they just start talking to you about comedy. So that helps. I don't know if tits work better, really, to get you out of strife.
I don't think you've got any of those.
No. There's not many men I know get away with that one. They do work, though, don't they? If I had them, I'd use them to get out of things with cops. And cause why not?
And the funny thing is, apparently, getting tits out, fine, absolutely fine. But if you get your cock out, you are going to jail.
Yeah, but no one wants to see a cock. You don't have to get your tits out. You just have to have them out, don't you? You just have to have a bit out. And see, what they do is they make out the women who use this power are somehow sluts, which is what they've done to decrease women's power even more, right? Because again, men have the physical power to override things, so women have another power which comes from sex and stuff like this. Instead, they've been told that no, they should flaunt it in other ways, but men should also be calmed down, but they shouldn't use it like that. Because what are you doing? Like, well, you should use it. It's power, isn't it?
We just can't win, can we?
So, well, not just women, anyone. There's always a pressing going on for everyone, just trying to trick you into these noble ideas when really they're going, no. If I had tits and was getting the cop hassling me, I'd fucking go, well, really? I don't Wouldn't you?
I haven't had the pleasure of trying yet, I have to say.
Well, that's what I'd do. I don't want a speeding ticket.
That's true, yeah. I've got a couple of quick fire questions. So firstly, if you had to choose one metal band that was your favourite metal band, who would you say it was?
Oh, well, that's difficult for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it all falls into different realms. It has to be Iron Maiden for getting me into metal, and Clive Burr and for drumming like that. But then it has to be, Morbid Angel for being the ultimate death metal band in the history of the universe that has Trey Azagthoth and Pete Sandoval and David Vincent, a triumvirate of characters and chaos. And but then you have to have, all the old school, Exodus first albums, and Slayer's first albums, and so it's very difficult. Creator. So, yes, exactly. And then you have to go to Emperor for making In the Nightside Eclipse. So, and Sepultura for making Beneath the Remains. So it's hard because there's brilliant bands and brilliant albums everywhere. And then you have to give Blood or Snord for making The Work Which Transforms God, which is a fucking masterpiece. I can never answer that question.
It is difficult, isn't it?
It's got Iron Maiden for this. Well, it's Iron Maiden for the beginning, but everything after that's just got equal relevance. So.
Awesome. When you found out you were doing Bloodstock...
Heavy metal.
That's fine, you can talk to me about metal all day.
That's good.
That's good. When you found out you were doing Bloodstock, what was the one band on the lineup that you thought, I've got to see them?
Well, Morbid Angel, of course.
Awesome. And finally, I have one more question. Having watched a couple of your bits and pieces... Triptychon?
Yeah.
Oh, they were amazing though, weren't they?
But they put them on in the day, and the Creator were the best band on that day. And some guy wrote an article in some magazine saying how Triptychon were easily the best band on that day, and I'm going, you're so wrong. So a review, where were you, mate? I don't understand what you're talking about. Triptychon were in the day. That's a non-plus already. They have to be in the dark, don't they? You don't want to watch Primordial in the day. You want to watch Primordial in the dark. No.
Most of the time you're too hungover to watch anyone.
Creator can get away with it because it's just thrashing chaos, so it can be all right for the afternoon. But, Triptychon, you need to be in the dark, in a tent, don't you? So it's pummeling, thunderous, negative darkness. I don't want the sun out. Tom Warrior, dressed in black, looking like a ghoul.
I was really glad that Creator was during the day. I got kicked in the head about 4 times when they were doing their crowd surfing, and it was amazing.
Yeah, that was good.
Amazing.
That was good.
So final question. You said on Michael McIntyre's Comedy Roadshow that one of the things that offend you is boy bands. Can you give me 3 more things that offend you?
Yeah. Millions of them. Am I offended by them? See, offence is a strange thing. I'm still contemplating whether I should get offended. Because does it do you any good to be offended? And yet you need to have some level of being offended so that you actually have some kind of social, moral idea of how to behave, in a sense. Don't you? So I'm offended. See, it's interesting. We were talking about being offended today in an interview. Because, if I'm at a gym or something and they play those continual clips of idiots dancing in fields on cars with bling and hose and constantly going like this, and moving, I'm offended to the point of I can't stay in there. And it's like if I see one more cunt just doing this shit, and I just because it makes me lose faith in the human race. Because I just who could possibly? How come every clip is a dance routine? Every fucking one is just 12 idiots going like this, and then we've got a shot to them pretending to fuck, or at a party, and then we go and we dance again, and you go like this, and you go like this, and you walk, and every one, it's just like mild child pornography projected into a gym. What is? I'll tell you what else offends me. The TVs in pubs and just everywhere, propaganda machines everywhere. I'm in a hotel in Liverpool. There's a TV behind the reception desk with the news on showing war. So as you're checking into a hotel, We're now watching war. So in the hotel reception desk, what kind of world are you living in where you're checking in for your honeymoon, are you? And you get to see half of Lebanon getting covered in depleted uranium shells. What planet is this? And everyone's starting to think it's normal. I said to the woman by the front desk, I said, why have you got war on when people are checking in? Oh, it's just on. Yeah, but see, here's where I lose faith in the human race. See, I wouldn't work here then. I would have to go, excuse me, there's war on. People are checking in to the hotel to have a weekend or something or other, and I can't talk about it enough. See, why? Because people think it's normal and just sort of see it and don't notice it. And I go, but that's what they want you to do, not notice it. That's the great trick. Because then it's all subconscious, and then it becomes normal because it's now moving in the subconscious, where you think it's just normal for this stuff to happen. And it's not. It's not normal to have war on while you're checking in for your honeymoon.
I do know what you mean, yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for taking the time out to talk to us. I can imagine you have a million other things that you should probably be doing, getting prepared for a gig. Yeah, why not?
No, completely. I will lie on the couch. I have no problem with lying. The worst thing is how much that I'm willing to lie on the couch. Then someone asks to interview me, and I go, oh, God, I have to do an interview. And then they ask me to talk about myself and how freely it begins to come. I realise what a self-obsessed lunatic I am. But then, you have to be, don't you? Who isn't self-obsessed?
No one.
In one sense. In one sense. I mean, besides perhaps that Indian woman who goes around the world giving everybody hugs. You know her? You ever heard of her? There's an Indian woman. She just rocks around on big tours and stops, and 2,000 people turn up to a square, and she just hugs everyone. It's a sort of it's a good thing. This is a good thing.
Really odd.
I don't think it's odd. This what it does is it generates a positive thing towards human beings within the ether and within the trans-dimensional realities, which other powers of the elite don't want you to know, which is why they want you separate, which is why they've got war on at your honeymoon, so that you become a feelingless void of just propaganda, instead of going, what I might do for a living? What? Rock around the world and just hug strangers on ovals. Do people turn up? Yeah, 10,000. There you go.
Well, that's a movement that most governments would not manage, though.
No, that minister wouldn't last long with his proposal in the House of Commons. I'm suggesting hugs, Minister. Hugs. I'll become the Minister of hugging. I couldn't think of a word. Loving. The Minister of Happiness.
Flowers and rainbows.
Yeah. Imagine that. I'm the Minister of Flowers and Rainbows. It's an easy job. It's a cushy position. Yes.
I like cuddles.
Yeah. Well, you'd want it to be a cushy position, really. Otherwise, it'd be sort of going against the whole point of being the Minister of Rainbows and Puppies and Earbuds.
Earbuds?
I meant to say cotton buds.
I'm not sure that's better.
Yeah, I know. But, it reminded me of a fluffy cloud on a child's painting or something. I don't know why.
Not bad. Well, I shall leave you with your thoughts there. Having spoken about fluffy clouds and rainbows.
Onslaught Radio, live on video on Onslaught Radio.
Woo!
My first band was called Onslaught.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
First bands. Taken from the third track on the first Metal Church album, called Merciless Onslaught, which is the instrumental. Then we took Onslaught. Then we got a logo done. And then we started to rehearse. And then Britain's brought out Onslaught, Power from Hell, and then that all went down the hill. Then we had to change the name. And then we came up with Slaughter Lord, so that was 20 times better. So.
Oh yeah, I can't say anything.
It's quite good actually to get rid of it, because it's very difficult when you lose a good band name.
Yeah.
If you've got a good one, and then it goes, and you go, oh, now we've got to get a better one, or one that's just as good. That's hard. That's hard.
Although Slaughter Lord's not bad.
Slaughter Lord's killer. Exactly. It's much better. That was very lucky. See, first we went with Devastator, and that was crap. And I knew it was crap. I knew it wouldn't hold up in court. So I went, I can't have that. Then we came up with Slaughter Lord, which is like, there you go. There you go. Thanks.
It's actually more brutal.
Yeah, it's more brutal. Far more brutal. Brilliant.